Most thank you to those of you who actually showed up today. You know, it's always important to show up on these kind of days because you can ask the questions live. You get an insight into everything, and it's what's going to help you elevate in your trading. I'm gonna start by sharing my screen. Start by sharing my screen, and I'm gonna start. Do you guys want me to talk about earnings, or do you guys want me to talk about a recap of the market from this past week? Let me know. I want to do what you guys need. I want to do what you guys want to hear. Write it
Past week.
Right in the chat. Right in the chat. Let me see what people are talking about last week, or you want to hear about the earnings first. We're gonna get into both either way. Okay, I heard someone say last week. Um, Let me see what the chat say. I guess it's last week then. All right, cool.
I'd say earnings. What?
All right, everyone, and type in the chat. Drop your thing in the chat. One said earnings, one said last week. Type it in the chat. Let me know what you think, and then as soon as I have a few answers, whatever's most popular, I'll get into that. Put your opinions in the chat. You want to hear about earnings? Or you want to hear about last week? Who's drawing on the screen? Okay, the chat is saying earnings week, recap, past week, market recap, last week, recap, please. Both recap last week. Yeah, recap, recap, recap. Okay, cool. We'll start with the recap of last week, then we'll talk about earnings for this week. Let's start with a recap of last week. Okay, thank you guys for typing that in the chat. So, where do we start? We had FOMC. We had, how do I get this stuff off my screen? One sec. I don't know if you guys can see the same stuff. Well, on my screen, there was like a blue stripe and a green stripe. I don't know who did that, but let me just type in Discord. Okay, cool. So yeah, last week what happened? Well, first of all, job market, right? The job market numbers were not good. And the job market is in a shambles. I'm just gonna say it how it is. People are sugarcoating it all over social media. Job market is in a shambles. Don't want to hear from this guy. So, one thing with yeah, stocks tumbled from record highs on Friday as data revealed the US labor market is not on as solid footing as previously thought. One thing I've noticed this year is every time there's job numbers releases, right, corporate number releases, these numbers are getting revised and revised and revised. These numbers pretty much are getting forged. I'm just gonna say it how it is, right? Every time we're like, how many jobs have been added? 114,000 jobs have been added. A few days later, well, actually, the number was 170. Sorry, actually, a few days later, the number was 74. Oh, 128,000 jobs have been added. Oh no, a few days later, it was actually 85,000 jobs, right? Every single time this year, every single time. Let's say it how it is. Let's call a spade a spade. Unemployment rate is moving higher. It is moving higher. That's a fact. Companies are releasing more people. Companies are getting rid of more workforce. Layoffs are happening. Whatever you want to call it, rebrand it as restructuring, organizational restructure, whatever. These are layoffs. These are companies getting rid of employees. People are getting sacked. People are getting sent away from their jobs. People are losing their jobs. Labor market, in my opinion, is an absolute shambles right now. 'Cause some companies are trying to save money. Some companies are trying to, put money from one place, well, from the labor sector into somewhere else. Maybe some are changing it, focusing on AI, changing up their strategy, whatever you want to call it, they're doing that. And again, the job market is in shambles. So these constant revisions of job numbers is not a good look for the economy right now. Okay. Now let's talk about FOMC. Okay, we're all expecting some kind of rate cuts, some kind of rate cuts somewhere in the next few months, right? They indicated again that they're not really looking to cut rates anytime soon, right? The narrative all year was, we're expecting maybe two or three rate cuts this year. We haven't had any. We still haven't had any. We're going to go into September still not having had any rate cuts. Okay? I don't know what is happening. I don't know what the plan is. I'm not sure why like we've gone from two or three rate cuts by by the end of the year to potentially zero rate cuts this year, which will be crazy, right? Should say somewhere here about there we go. Our base case since January has been that the Fed won't cut rates this year. That was the base case. The best case that was that we get two or three. Now, in regards to the rate cuts, let's be honest. Best case, I think we're getting one. Best case now, right? We'll see. We'll see what happens. But either way, those kind of things, obviously, you saw the reflection on the market, right? You don't have to be a genius to figure out how the market reacted to that. The reports came out and people didn't like that. The market sold off Wednesday, it gapped up Thursday, sold off again Friday. Friday, the jobs report came out, so obviously sold off due to that, but it already sold off Wednesday because of the rate cuts. Okay, so let me go to the chart, S&P 500 chart. Okay, and let me show you this on a daily time frame. What do you see on SPY? What do you see what SPY done? Look what SPY done. I want to make it very clear. Can you see those five candles? So let me show you something on the weekly chart. We had a green streak. We had a winning streak. We had a 5 week winning streak. We went from 591 all the way up to 635, 638, 638, right? We had a 5 week winning streak. Now we closed 621.72. That's what we closed on Friday. And we've got a bearish engulfing candle, right? This whole body is inside this whole red candle. We've got a bearish engulfing candle. And, whether that's due to the FOMC, the rate cut indecision, whether that's to the job market, whether that's whatever it could be, whatever catalyst it is, we are now, in my opinion, seeing a potential for a further pullback. Let's see this week if we find support somewhere around 614, 615 before trending higher, potentially. Otherwise, if we break below and we start selling off, let's see how long this bearish momentum lasts. Right now, I'm pretty skeptical. We got a break below the 9 and 21 on the daily time frame. Again, 614, 615, that would be my target for this week. But the way SPY has been bleeding, we dropped 17 points in 2 days. 5 day red streak. We broke the 5 week winning streak. I'm not very I'm not very optimistic with how the market is just kind of flipped towards the end of July. July was a great month, and in the last 2 days, it just got sour real quick. So I'll be keeping my eye out on, how the market reacts to the earnings coming up this week. But like I said, based off what, the job market, FOMC, a couple stocks earnings, yeah, the narrative kind of shifted from bullish and everything easy and exciting to bearish to, a bit more tedious to a bit more difficult. So that's kind of an overview of kind of how, last week panned out. Oh, how could I didn't even really mention the tariffs, did I? So Trump was kind of slapping tariffs on countries left, right, and center, Brazil, India, other countries as well. And they're not making it look, they're not making it easy for us right now. The economic data is kind of against us, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is also important. First quarter of this year, GDP was negative. Second quarter, we're like, okay, is it going to be negative again? Are we going to have back-to-back quarters of negative GDP? No, we didn't. We actually rebounded at 3%, right? So the second quarter actually we rebounded up 3%, which was again, a nice recovery, right? A nice recovery. But realistically, is that 3% rebound enough to keep us bullish for the next quarter, to keep us bullish going into August? That I don't know. That I really don't know. That I don't think is enough. We'll see. We'll see. But it's a lot of things that are going to come into this right now. Consumer spending, interest rates, some of the companies' earnings, obviously jobs reports. A lot of this is starting to come into consideration. So We'll see. It's not an easy market right now, but it's as we always say, right? The market can go up, down, or sideways. Now is the time that I'm looking for it to start going down. If it goes sideways, I wouldn't be surprised either. I'll be honest, I'll be very surprised if it just starts going up again. This week to start August off. Okay, but yeah, Trump was slapping the tariffs again. I don't know. I don't know where we go from here, but we'll see. The worst thing that can happen, the worst thing that can happen is we get a pullback, and then we trend up in September, October. The best thing that could happen, we get a small pullback in beginning of August, and then the rest of the month we start uptrending again. But let's see. Everything to me is pointing downwards right now. A lot of things are pointing downwards, right? Trade tensions. Yeah, he raised the tariffs on many US partners, right? How can you just be slapping tariffs on people left, right, and center like you don't care? But we'll see where that takes us, okay? Next up, let's talk about the earnings now. Going forward, what's an outlook on the market right now going forward? First and foremost, right? When when I see this chart, right? When I see this in front of me, the first thing I say to myself is we have so much here to look forward to. All I see when I look at this overall thing is opportunity. I don't just see stocks, I see opportunities, right? I see Oscar, I see Shopify, I see AMD, Uber, I see Hims and Hers, Palantir, I see Lemonade, right? I see Elf, I see Celsius, I see TTD, I see Tem, I see all these stocks as opportunities, not just stocks. So we're gonna look into those. We're gonna look into those today. And again, once again, as I keep saying, the market go up, the market go down, the market goes sideways, whatever. We've got opportunities to make some money. We've got opportunities to make some money. Palantir tomorrow after the bell. I'm not surprised. I mean, Palantir proves everybody wrong. I'm not surprised if it sells off a little bit tomorrow. I would not be surprised. But I will tell you something. No matter what happens to the stock price, the share price, I'm looking at 175 for August. I'm looking at 180 for August, and I'm serious about that. Palantir keeps impressing. This time last year, do you guys know where we were? We were at $74. Palantir last year, August. Sorry, I said 74. $24 last year. Let's see the chart. August, right? August. We're at $24. There we go. $24 last August. Around here, $24. 24, $25. That's what I see. So that's what I seen last year before we ran. And again, don't matter what they do, what they do to the stock price. I'm looking for that 175 this month. 175, 180. We already hit 160 highs last month, which I was very impressed by. Let's get up there to that 175 level, right? So I'm not going to talk about the rest of the earning stocks right now. Let me talk about my stocks to watch. I'm going to start with UPST, Upstart. Okay. So Upstart is in between the moving averages right now. It's at $79. I think once we break this level, if we can break this level, we'll see a heavy pullback, right? That $68 level is what I would look for. Realistically, I don't think that if the rest of the market recovers, I don't think this will fall. But if the rest of the market does start falling, even in the slightest, I see a big sell-off here coming for Upstart. I see a big sell-off coming for Upstart. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna be patient. Look at the weekly chart. It's that first red candle since 7 weeks ago. First red candle is a bearish engulfing candle. Let's see the 4 hour. This is where it starts to get ugly. This is where I start to get more confident in the puts on Upstart. 4 hour break below break below market structure break and break below the moving averages. Let us see what happens here. But we're just hovering around that $79 level, which again on the daily chart is the moving average level. Once we break below $68, my price target for Upstart, right? If you want to do step by step, you can go for the $71 price target, then the $68 level. But 68 is really my price target to the downside for Upstart this month, by the way, this month, if it does sell off. Okay. Next up, Robinhood. So I was actually bullish on this stock last week. Market started to flip. And one thing I said if you guys came to my Thursday live session, my study session, I said three stocks that I think when the market flips bearish, they're going to see real blood. One was Coinbase, one was MicroStrategy, MSTR, and the last one was Hood, Robinhood, HOOD. If the market does start flipping bearish and we see a pullback, as in a heavy pullback, watch this just start selling off, right? These are the companies that they're not ones that I look at and say, yeah, I want to invest in it long term at these prices. Hood can see some blood. If the market does start pulling back, Hood can see some blood. But this is the only thing I will say about Hood. Hood reminds me of a stock we just talked about, Palantir. Hood reminds me of that. And I'll show you why. I'll show you why. Hood reminds me of Palantir from last year. Okay. So back in June, Hood was $67. Now, or this month, or in July, the month after, it went to 110. What about back in May? Hood was all the way down at $44, right? April, Hood was down at $30. So do you see why it reminds me much of Palantir? It reminds me of Palantir because it when it gets going, it catches the momentum, it catches fire, it pushes up, pulls back, pushes up, pulls back. So Hood reminds me of Palantir, right? That's the only reason I'm wary of Hood. I would love to take puts on this. I would love to take puts on this, but only if the market flips bearish. Okay. If the market does flip bearish, $91, $91.32. That's my price target, $91.32. But again, I'm not counting out Hood if the market holds and market stays, consolidates to move higher or pulls back to move higher. But 91.32 would be my level to the downside. I think again, I'm not an idiot. I see this how the stock moves. I don't believe the company is great. I don't believe the numbers are great and everything. But I do believe in this stock market, when just like Palantir, when it's going well for you, it's going well for you. Right? Another example of that is Roblox. Now, Roblox is not on my stocks to watch for this week. It is not. No. But it was going well for Roblox. It was back at $62 in April, and before that it was back at $50 April. We hit 150 this week. Again, when it's good for you, it's going great. Right? When it's going good, it's going great. Look at that. It's just straight up. Right? It's going nice. And I've got my trend line automatically provided by TrendSpider here, which is what I love. Right? We topped out at that level. Now I know we've got nice resistance at that level. But yeah, like I said, Hood, Roblox, Robinhood, when it's going well for them, it's good. Sorry, Hood, Roblox, and Palantir. When it's good, when it's going good for you, it's going good. Right? Hood has got that movement that Palantir had, so don't count it out. If it does catch fire, if it does start pushing up again, $110 is my price target. It's that simple. Okay, let me see my list. Next up, FSLR, First Solar. So I actually like this chart a lot, just because even with the rest of the market pulling back, this stock hasn't been affected too hard, right? It still managed to hit highs of 189 and come down. So we're hanging around that price point where I'm like, I don't mind it. My support is 166.43. My price target would be that 189 if it does continue trending higher. And with the solar names, you know, check this out, right? With the solar names, let's go weekly, daily. Okay, weekly is cool. Weekly is cool. It wicked off the moving average, it's headed higher. Bounced. We got a nice bounce with the EMAs here, right? Check the daily, right? Check daily. So we got the golden cross over here in July when it was at 156. We've trended higher, pull back, trended higher, pull back. I think we can trend higher if we pull back again. Pull back, let this stock pull back to 179.40, which is where the EMA is, and let it head higher all the way to 189, 67. I like FSLR as a long-term play as well. I think for the solar companies, this is one of the best ones out there. We could potentially see a move higher. We just got to wait. Again, the market is in a weird position right now. So I like the stocks which don't really do exactly what the market is doing, right? Um, you'll see when SPY pulls back, a lot of time Hood will pull back. When SPY pulls back, Palantir will pull back. FSLR is different. You know, when SPY pulls back, FSLR isn't really pulling back, isn't necessarily pulling back. If I show you the weekly chart again, weekly chart was green. It was a doji, but 3 week chart, three green weekly candles in a row. It's green, right? I showed you SPY's weekly candle was clearly red. This is doing its own thing. So yeah, FSLR is cool. And then BA, actually, ironically, I saw Shona post about this one too. So looking at this indicator, the market structure indicator, we could be bouncing here. We pull back plenty, you know, 243 ordered to 221. We could bounce here. All right, we're nearly at the previous level of resistance. We're almost finding a support at the previous level of resistance. So just watch if it does decide to pull back to 215 or so, which is not a huge move for BA. It makes moves like that all the time. But yeah, watch for that pullback. Then when we do start pushing to the upside, once again, I'm going for that 229 target for BA, and eventually I want to get us up to 239, 240. Okay. I like BA for swings, but it just needs to be the right time. As you can see, this move was really nice to the downside. These moves were really nice to the upside, right? This is such a great opportunity if it does catch fire and start pushing to the upside. So just watch BA for calls if we can hold here. If we sell off here, that 215 price point is my target, right? Previous resistance. That's my target for BA. Now AMD, right? You guys know when it comes, if someone was to ask my favorite stocks, right? What would you guys say? Realistically, what would you guys say? Would you be saying Tesla? Would you be saying Apple? Would you be saying Nvidia? Would you be saying all that? Hopefully not, right? Hopefully not. Um, most people should be saying AMD. Realistically, most people should be saying AMD, and most people should be saying SoFi. Them two. Maybe 11 months ago, people would say Palantir as well. But at current price points, it's still a great company. I'm still a big, heavy shareholder in it, but I'm not going to say it's my favorite company. AMD, on the other hand, I like it. AMD. So tech pulled back last week, and tech needed to pull back. We're hanging around a moving average on the daily. Right. Weekly chart is is way overextended. Let's just say how it is. It's way overextended, right? We went from 112 up to 180 in the span of 10 weeks. Realistically, we're way overextended. We need a pullback with AMD. We needed a pullback with tech. So we pull back to the moving average here. I wouldn't be surprised if we come down to the 21 moving average. An $11 drop is not crazy. It might seem crazy, sound crazy. $11 drop from here to 160 is not too crazy. So, how will I play MD right now? Honestly, if I'm gonna play MD, you probably catching me take a put once we break below the moving average and start closing below the moving average um, tomorrow. Problem being, AMD's earnings is Tuesday after hours. So my play, I probably can't play my play until Wednesday. What's the problem with that? Well, AMD, I'm not surprised if this happened. I'm really not surprised if this happened. AMD might gap down after hours on Tuesday. So what does that mean? If AMD gaps down after hours on Tuesday, then I'll take advantage because it probably come down to 159. Then I'll take advantage once it finds some support and they start buying it up again. Two swing calls. Right, AMD at 159, especially if their earnings is good, which I do think it will be good. If AMD is at 159 Wednesday morning, 159 or even below, I'll buy some calls with a few weeks till expiry and just let it sit. Similar story to SoFi last week. I said on Sunday, if SoFi do a double beat, I'm not surprised if it runs up to $24. And it did that. Straight after that, it sold off. No surprises there. AMD is the same, but to the other side. AMD might do a great earnings and then sell off. I will not be surprised if AMD sells off. And if it does, I'll take longer calls, 175 for end of August, maybe 180 for beginning of September. But I'm not surprised if AMD sells off Tuesday after hours. Doesn't mean anything's a bad company. Doesn't mean this is something money destroyer. Doesn't mean if it's this doesn't mean none of that, right? If you know companies, you see this from where we was in April 78 up to now, we've doubled up, okay? There's other companies out there like look what they've done since April. They've done nothing, bro. They've done nothing, right? Look, they've done nothing. They was at 212 in April. They're now at 202 in April. Sorry, in August, right? How can you be at 212 in April and then in August you're at 202? You've gone down $10. Not a serious company. AMD on the other hand, we went from 78, $80 in April up to 180 in July and now 171 to start August. That's a serious company. So if it does sell off, I won't be surprised. Wall Street doesn't seem to like this stock as much as I expect, but that's okay. When Wall Street was telling you guys to sell AMD back in April, May, and all the jokes was there. It was great because that was the times I was buying. So I don't mind if Wall Street sells it off again in 2 days after hours. I'm cool with that actually. If Wall Street decides to sell it off, I'll take advantage of it because I'll buy calls for end of August, beginning of September. That's really a game plan right there. 175 end of August, 180 beginning of September. Honestly, if they sell it off, and I think they will sell it off on Tuesday. I think the earnings will be good. I think we'll get nice revenue, beat earnings per share. But I have a feeling Wall Street will sell it off. I've seen them do it time and time again, right? I bought my first AMD shares at $18. So I know how this stock moves. I know what Wall Street thinks of this company, but I also trust in my CEO. That's Lisa Su. That's my CEO. So forget anything that they're talking about. Forget the negative hype that it always gets. Realistically, if it does sell off, which I do think it will, there's opportunity for me and I will take advantage of it. I know people are going to say, oh, well, you have to call it out. No, listen, I just told you the game plan. If it sells off Tuesday after hours, I'm going to be buying back in for longer term calls. That's a fact. Because I just spoke about earnings per share and revenue, it just reminded me. So Palantir's expected earnings per share is 0.12, and the revenue is expected at 938 million. If we get anywhere close to 950 million with Palantir, or even more, close to a billion, and if we beat earnings per share, we're going to be eating good on Palantir with the long-term stocks, by the way. I'm probably not going to trade this options wise. I'm probably not until after the earnings, right? I don't think I'll trade the earnings for Palantir. I just don't think it's worth it. But it is a huge week this week in the market. And as I always say, when earnings season is in full swing, it's a time of opportunities. It's a time of opportunities. So yeah, that was just kind of what I wanted to remind myself about Palantir for those who was wondering. Now, there's another stock out there which gets, I wouldn't say it gets, oh, well, I will say it gets a lot of bad press, bad news, right? And honestly, rightfully so, right? Right now, it's selling off, it's getting yanked. And funny enough, I think there's more blood in Lululemon. There's more blood in Lululemon. I think people love shorting this, and I think there's money to be made to the downside, right? We went from 251 at the beginning of last month to 190 by the end of the month. And I think there's more blood in Lululemon, but you have to be aware of, where it bottoms out. Let's be honest. I have to check the weekly charts, the monthly charts to find a bottom for Lululemon, right? And it starts to get tedious because I'm like, where am I finding the bottom? Am I going for, 120s? Maybe the resistance up here at what, no, not even. I don't even know. Like, you have to kind of zoom out on this chart, right? It's is it possibly going to go to 120s? I don't think so, but the way this chart's been moving, right? That it looks like there's no in between right now, right? So Lululemon, I'll just say I might swing puts, but I'd have to figure out a price target based on maybe a monthly chart, right? Maybe a monthly chart. But again, you know, 160, 168, maybe. That's kind of where we consolidated before back in 2019. We kind of topped out in 2018. So maybe that 160, what line is this? If I had to set a price target, 164.46 for Lululemon, downside, 164.46. That might be where the puts head take us to. I like Lululemon puts right now. Everything is good. Look, 4 hour chart, we're under the order moving averages. Daily chart, we're under order moving averages. Weekly chart, we're under order moving averages. We Lululemon could drop another 20, $30 this month of August. Lululemon really could. So please just watch for the puts. I know people don't like swinging puts. I know people don't like taking puts because I know even Apple on Friday when it was dying, people are like, no, 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 I don't like trading puts. Puts is nice, man. Puts takes the elevator down. Puts takes some of these stocks to the shadow realms, man. Puts takes some of these stocks straight to the graveyard. So some of these stocks are just digging in themselves graves, You can take advantage of the puts. And speaking of puts, hymns, right? I have a feeling. I'm not that familiar with how their earnings moves, but I have a feeling this one gets yanked down. Now, as someone who is a him shareholder, that's pretty painful to say that this stock gets yanked down. Honestly, the way this stock moves, this could be a big move on the cards. Look at it. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that. Right? That was not even earnings. Look how he yanked. Look how he yanked. Look how he yanked from from 630, 640. Sorry, from 63, 64, yanked down to 41. Right? Look at the yank on it. Look how they yank it down. Look, just gapped it down. No remorse, just gapped it down. Okay? So be aware that they might do that again leading up to earnings on Tuesday. No, sorry, Monday after close. Just be aware. I'm not gonna trade it before the like I'll be honest with you guys. If I was trading him's earnings, I'll be taking puts. I'm not gonna trade the puts. You know, the Roku from last week kind of confused me. That's just what we're gonna talk about next. But I think this could be a big put play. If you are somebody who trades earnings, I think they could drag this back down to lower here. There we go. 53 puts. Honestly, I think 53 puts might be something for you if you are someone who trades earnings. And if I come in on Tuesday morning and I see him at 53, I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised. So yeah, I don't think I don't think this stands a chance against Wall Street, but we'll see. Yeah. Um, what was the other? Oh yeah, Roblox. No, sorry, Roku is what we just talked about. Yeah. So what do we see with Roku? We had earnings. You know, stock market got yanked. Roku got yanked. After hours, it was actually up, hit 100, came back down. And yeah, I mean, this could free fall down to 76, 70, the moving average. So if I was taking Roku puts, it would be down to 76.70. I think it's going to see more blood. And yeah, I think it's going to see more blood down to the moving average at least. There's no, I mean, there's no reason if I just pull up the weekly chart. All right, there's no reason we don't break below the moving average and just head lower. But at the same time, the moving average is there and it's used as an indicator for a reason. We could find support here. We could find support on the weekly moving averages. The weekly moving average could be our level of support, right? The 9-day moving average could be our level of support because we did have a nice bullish sign back in June. You know, the golden cross. But now the moving averages are look like they're converging again for another cross to the downside. So even if we don't get a drop this week, see here's another bearish death cross. We might get that cross to the downside, and we might see some blood. We might see some blood. So even if it's not this week, it might be coming in the near future. But yeah, 76, 73 would be my price target for Roku. Um, Let me see what else is on my list. Oh, Affirm, AFRM. So yeah, this is kind of interesting. We got a break below the moving average and we wicked off the moving average and came down. So this could be time for puts. First target for me would be 64.32. Then I would look for this level right here at 62.13. Right? $64 and then 62.13 will be my price targets for a firm. I like puts on it with the market bleeding. I like this coming down below the moving below the um what do you call it? Below the moving average. I'd say, phew, to be honest, if we wick off the moving average here and we head higher, I wouldn't. Well, I also wouldn't be surprised. So it's a lot. It's a bit tough with some of these stocks because like a firm weekly chart is still okay. Daily chart is the one that looks more like okay, it could be put time. 4 hour chart is the one that looks like yeah, we're gonna come down again, test this level again. But again, weekly chart is kind of holding. So you've got to just be aware, right? Sometimes the weekly will tell you different to the daily, which will tell you different to the 4 hour. Apart from Lululemon that I showed you, and I said just Lululemon to be honest, like apart from Lululemon, there's none of these stocks are trading below the moving averages on all time frames, you know? Lululemon is the main one. So yeah. Now I'm just checking the chat real quick. Kendra said AMD should blow out earnings. Yeah, AMD will blow out earnings. I have no doubt about that. Problem is, it don't mean Wall Street is going to let it rise, right? They've never given AMD a easy ride, right? Nvidia is the love child, um, but AMD is the one where I'm like, okay, this is a better opportunity for me. So yeah, let me check the chat. Someone just said Nvidia. What about it? MVTS calls, PayPal. Oh, you guys suggesting your stocks. I was like, what? Yeah, tell me what you're looking at. PayPal. I think we just do PayPal on Friday. We just did PayPal on Friday. I'm pretty sure. We even did a breakdown on live, and we did a presentation on it and a poll. We done everything on PayPal. How much do you want to do with PayPal? There we go. That's weekly chart, daily chart, 4 hour, right? In fact, this might be the next one with Lululemon to go to the Shadow Realms. Maybe this might be the next one. Yeah, this might go all the way down. All right, let me finish doing my stocks, and then you guys can send me yours, okay? Because I had another one of these earnings. Oh yeah, Celsius, that's the one. Celsius. Let me do my stocks as well. Celsius. So Celsius, right? They had that bit of news last week. A couple might be in here, where they had like what White Claws in there. They were mistakenly putting Celsius labels on White Claws, right? So if bruh, I don't know how companies even do this, but yeah, that news came out, and let me see if you can find it. It's not even here. Either way, I don't know how companies can do that. That kind of stuff can just mess up your whole stock earnings. Because not the earnings numbers itself, but the guidance, right? The CEO is probably gonna have to address that. And then it's probably gonna it could do a whole drop off, right? So just be aware of Celsius, right? I'm looking at it, I'm thinking we just kind of flipped bearish a few days ago to end July. The weekly candles are hanging above the moving averages, but look like they topped out at $48. The monthly, on the other hand, is hanging in between the moving averages. Also, no, it's not even between the moving average. It's actually above the moving average. Earlier, I saw this and I thought this moving average. But yeah, the monthly is all right, but it is, back-to-back red months. Moving averages kind of diverging to the upside. It's about to cross to the upside. Daily chart, weekly chart, a little bit more safe, right? Look like they're holding. Daily chart, that might be where the blood starts, right? That might be where the blood starts. So just look at it coming down to this wicker at 43, let's say 4309, 4309 price target to the downside for Celsius. I honestly think in anticipation of the earnings, they will run the stock down a little bit, just with a negative sentiment. But I like Celsius overall as a company. I've liked Celsius from it was $28 back before last earnings. And yeah, yeah, February. Remember we did our live session and it was at $22 before the last earnings. I'm sure some of you guys were here for that, and I said this one could be pushing the 30s in a few months, and it did. So yeah, you know. Um, Let me see. I think that was all of mine. I had Exxon on the radar, but I don't think this is really. Look, I don't think it's really moving how I want it to move. Right? It was cool for a couple of days, came down again. I don't really think it's moving how I wanted it to move. Right? I don't think Exxon was moving how I wanted it to move. But it's all good, right? Let's look at this. It's not really moving how I wanted it to move. It's not really moving that way. 4 hour chart, similar story. You know, we was up, now we're down. Are we gonna come back up? We're gonna sell off. And if we do sell off, sure, $107.75 might be the target. But I don't see Exxon moving just down like that. I feel like it's gonna put up a fight before it heads down. Any kind of news come out as well regarding the energy sector that might just be wraps. If you're in calls and it goes the wrong way, if you're in puts and it goes the wrong way, it might just be wraps real quick. So I don't know about trading Exxon. Look, this one here, people would have gotten calls anticipating, the uptrend again. And guess what? It was wraps. August 1st, it was wraps. You went from 112 all the way down to 108. It was wraps. Imagine you had a zero DTE Friday as well. You would have got smoked. Speaking of zero DTE Fridays, so this week the play was Apple, right? Yeah. See, if people got in calls because of a good earnings for Apple and market open they wanted to run it up, they would have got swiped, right? They would have got swiped. They would have got their head took off, they would have got their face ripped off. Apple will drop down all the way to 201.50, right? So the reason I'm saying that is because sometimes you're in a trade and you're so intent on proving that you were right, Apple's going to run up, Apple's going to do this and that, that you miss out on. So not only not only you miss out on the gain because obviously you don't take profits, but you also miss out on the opportunity to take puts because you're still holding your trade trying to be right. Just take the L sometimes, right? Just take the L sometimes, not just for this one, for other ones too, and move on, right? Look at Bull. Bull is at 13.34. If we break below 13.19, 13.20, it is wraps, right? This is the moving average right here. So 30, okay, my level was 13.20, 13.19. Moving average is right here. 13.12, okay. Anyway, if we break below that level, it is wraps, guys. It is wraps. The previous resistance up here, what I think is the new support right here. If we break below that, it is wraps for Webull. I'm not gonna lie, it's wraps for Webull if it breaks below. So hopefully Webull can bounce back. If it does bounce back, let's just try and see if we can get a pop again. It's a couple of days it's just popped up like that. It's just nice, just popped up. But realistically, I don't know. I don't know what's happening right now with a lot of these companies, We all saw great momentum, middle of July, sold off. Now we're at the point where I'm like, okay, it's hanging on for dear life, right? It's clutching on, right? It's just holding on. It's like that meme, the meme of the Gucci bag. It's like just let it go. That's what it feels like. Weeble is like the feels like the bag is torn up, the handles on the bag are just ripping off and the straps are falling off and it's just about to sell off. That might be Weeble, right? And if it falls below that, I'm already down. Let me check one sec. Let me check one sec. Let me check one sec. How much I'm down on Weeble. Because it could be wraps this week, guys. It could be wraps for the Weeble. We could come all the way down to 12, 13. Realistically, the previous support. The previous support. Robinhood's taking long to load. The previous support. It could be wraps for Weeble. Let me see what Weeble's doing. I'm down. See, 48% on Weeble. It could be wraps, guys. It could be wraps. So if we don't bounce here and we drop, overnight, what's it doing overnight right now? Overnight it is up 27 cents. So it's at 13.60. So it's up 2%. All right, it might bounce here and then see an uptrend. If not, like I said, it's wraps. GG's, right? Um, Let me check the Discord because that's most of my stocks to watch. I've been at it 51 minutes and yeah, let me see. It said, what is the Pink Menace doing for Hims? Hims is not, I mean, Pink Menace is not trading no Hims for earnings. Some of you need to understand that the degeneracy does not, it does not, it does not transpire throughout the whole Discord. Understand that. Um, all right, I'm gonna ask you guys now in the Discord, what stocks do you want me to break down and watch? I'm guessing you can't type in the Zoom chat. You can't type no nonsense in the Zoom chat, I'm guessing. But yeah, let me know in the Zoom in the Discord what stocks you want me to watch. I'll do maybe five or ten. I'll give you guys. Let me see what's going on. Let me see what's going on. All right. Oscar, Uber, IonQ, Nvidia, NO, NVTS, SoFi, Riot, IWM. Keep pumping them out. When I see something I like, I'll break it down. I seen Uber. Uber. Send me more. Send me more. Weekly is holding. Uber is too erratic though. Look, Uber. One day is puts consolidation, more puts, then up. Uber is not. It's not clear. AVGO, I like that now. I know when I know it like a stock. So this one, I want to start with a weekly chart. It's overextended, but it's due a pullback. We had that pullback last week. Okay, go to the daily chart. Aha. We hanging in around moving averages, right? Similar thing happened back in July with the daily chart, and we pushed up next week. Similar thing is happening now. We're hanging in between moving averages. It might be time to, push up a little bit. It might be time to push up a little bit. But either way, I'll keep this on my radar, right? If we do break above the moving average, if we break above 291.44, I'll probably look at calls to take it up to 307. But I'll have to put those expiries end of August. End of August. But I do like AVGO when it does catch a bit of heat. Microsoft, I like that. So we all know that Microsoft jumped up last week. It was due to a pullback. People took profits. People made 11,000, off the calls. People did all that. People, whatever, changed their lives. Cool. Really, charts are clean. Like 12 weeks straight of green. Great. We will do the pullback. We pull back. Let's hold above the moving average, which I believe we will. Let's start trending up again. Let's look at those 550 calls for August. I like Microsoft. I like that it's pulled back as well. And I'm pretty confident that once we find some support, as long as the market holds and the market doesn't do a madness and die, Microsoft could be good. If the market dies now, sells off, whew, I'll probably say I'll just leave this alone. I'll just leave it alone. The market dies. Okay, let's see what other stocks people are mentioning. UNH, yeah, one of my favorite stocks. Apple and UNH, I always diss these two stocks. So UNH, yeah, like I said a few weeks ago on the live stream, right? They dismissed the CEO, right? They dismissed him. So everyone that was telling me, oh, this is a good opportunity to get in calls because it's dropped 50%, right? Guess what? Now your contracts have dropped another 50%, right? The stock has dropped another 50%. Your contracts have been sliced. Your contracts have been diced. Your contracts have been turned to fried chicken, to Swiss cheese. I'm not touching this to the upside. I am not. People, when it dropped, people are not serious. When it dropped all the way to 300, right? People was, by the way, mute yourself. I don't want to hear your cat on the Zoom. When it dropped to 300, people were saying, oh, it could be a good time to call to the upside. I said, I'm going to wait because earnings has come around again and this thing could get destroyed, right? And guess what happened? I didn't take puts. I didn't take puts. But I said this thing could get destroyed. Guess what happening now? Destroyed. So all the people, I will go back and check. The people that were saying it could be cause, it could be cause, it could, look at that. The way they dismissed the CEO, right? The way they dismiss the CEO is the way they're dismissing the stock price as well. The market share on this is dying. I won't. People keep trying to say UNH could be good for cause, could be good. This thing is gonna go lower. If this thing can drop from five, what was it, five, bro, from 600 to 237, what makes you think that you're gonna buy this now and it's gonna start uptrending? Everybody who's in UNH, whoever's trading UNH, should be in puts, right? You probably see this in the shadow round. You probably see this at zero before you see this at five at 600 again. This thing is gonna get destroyed. This thing is gonna get destroyed, and I'm here for it, right? I'm here for it. I don't even know what levels we're looking at. The 2020 levels, 192, right here, 192, 2020 levels. Watch UNH drop another 45 bucks. Just watch it. People are trying to get UNH calls and catch the bottom when you're catching a falling knife. You're killing yourself. This is a massacre. This thing is bleeding out. This is the definition of a falling knife. No, like it had one good day back on July 1st, right? Maybe it wanted to start the month off fresh, new year, new me settings. Nah, you got destroyed, you got slaughtered. And again, gap down, push up, hammer candle, slaughtered. This stock is gonna get massacred. 192 is the next level. This thing is dying. This thing is dying. Don't even trust. Don't even try and take calls on this. Don't even. I'm confident with that one, right? This company is just getting massacred. I don't know if you guys have your healthcare of United Health as well. You probably want to change that, bro. Honestly, go get some Blue Cross Blue Shield or something else. Trust me, this thing is not going to do anything for you. This company is a mess. This company is a complete mess. All right, so UNH, yeah, UNH belongs in the same category as Apple. Just the disaster stocks. Wow, let me see what stocks they are asking. CRCL. Yeah, I'm serious. Yeah, yeah, change your healthcare. Go for some other thing, man. Go for some, like I said, some Blue Cross Blue Shield. You got plenty of, you got plenty of, plenty of stocks in the market, plenty of opportunities in the market. People keep trying to say UNH calls, UNH calls. No, UNH calls. Go get some other healthcare, man. Go get,
China,
who's China?
come here.
Right, I'm gonna have to find out who's on mute now. Who is it?
They didn't have a box, but I got you that. That'll hold you till tomorrow, and then we'll go to the store and pick some. Yeah. Me, Mama, and Summer.
Okay, he's gone. Frank Beasley, you were off mute. You were shouting. Is it because I dissed United Healthcare? Well, that's what happens. So either way, go get some other care, healthcare. Go get some, you know, go get some Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Go get some other healthcare, whatever state you're in. I don't know what state you're in. Go get some Molina or something. Go get some Obamacare. I don't know. Don't be coming onto the Zoom shouting just because I diss United Health. So Circle could be on for puts again. $150, 150.87 would be my price target. 150.87 would be my price target. It's pretty bleak for this stock. It only recently IPO'd back in June. It's pretty bleak for this. So yeah, that's pretty simple for you CRCL. 4 hour is really nasty. Could be forming a I might see this is why we need a trend spider. We're gonna work on a trend spider. Yeah, it's just let it come down though to $90, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But thank you for marking the trend. Thank you for marking the trend. So I just wanted to see. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Who else has got some stocks? Damn, the chart moves fast. Um, Tempest. Oh, 4 hours red, 4 hours bearish. Daily chart is bearish. Oh, we're holding the moving average. If we break below the moving average, we start closing at like $53. It's wraps. It's wraps. It's wraps. It is wraps. Yeah, it is wraps. Oh, it is wraps. Yeah, if we break below this 50, so if 10 breaks below, I'd say 53. I'll take puts down to 50. Yeah. 10 could be on for puts. Just wait. Let's see if it holds. Let's see if it holds. SoFi. Okay. Dan says SoFi, ASTS. Okay, Dan has 10 stocks himself. I said I'm gonna break down 10 stocks. Dan said everyone send 10 stocks individually. No, no, no. I'm doing 10 stocks overall. We're not individually doing 10 stocks each. Yeah, so if I don't like the price action recently because of earnings, obviously I'm a long-term shareholder. Obviously, I think this is going back to 24. Safest way if you want to play SoFi, honestly, get some $24 calls and just set it out for end of September, maybe beginning of October. It is cheap, but yeah, the $24 calls will be good. Um, yeah, I'm pretty cool with it. Um, yeah, I mean, we're holding the moving average, which is a positive sign, but look, you don't want to gap up, gap down, gap up and gap down and expect a consistent chart. Yeah, be careful with it. Best thing I can do for this, best thing I can give is again $24 call for October, and then just cut if you're down 30%, too early and get back in. Let me check the chat. Any more stocks to watch? TTD, any others? They have earnings this week, right? Yeah, Thursday after close. I'm not really 4 hours okay. Dailies coming off the EMAs. Nothing clear for me. Potentially it pushes up to $89, but yeah, I think let's check showing off Citibank, Citigroup. Hammer candle coming off the EMA. I like that. That's a strong hammer candle coming off the EMA. That could be something because last time, right, we pushed up, we pushed from what level is this? This is where we 91.82. We went from 91.82, we went to highs of 97. This could be good for calls. This is a nice stock. Weekly chart is cool. We're coming, yeah, overextended but pulled back last week. Got big body close as well. So they tried to push this down last week. Yeah, this could be good. This is a nice one. C is good. All right, could be. Yeah, we got that resistance at $96, $97 where it consolidated last time. Um, yeah, this is pretty good. That's probably one of the better ones from what's been mentioned today. Any other stocks? I already did City. I already did C.
United Airlines, UAL.
All right, let's see. All right, so I'm gonna start with the weekly. Weekly is nice. That's nice. It cool. Come down to moving average. Held it. Okay. Daily is bleak though. Daily is ugly. So this is like Boeing a little bit. We, so I got the trend lines in place. Hold on. No, not gonna help me here. Who is he? Nah, their fibs is not on. I have to wait for it to start coming up again. But I like what I'm potentially seeing because this is a previous resistance right here. Previous resistance could be a new level of support. If we start uptrending again, don't be surprised if it runs up $8. This could be good. Similar to Boeing. But Boeing is the nicer one from these two for me. Yeah, Boeing is above the moving averages on the weekly and on the daily as well. Oh, no, 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 that's not true. What's the difference here? Oh, UAL gap down. That's what it is. UAL gap down. That's the only thing. So if it does recover with the rest of the airlines, yeah, it could be something. Yeah, same with American. But if I had to pick between the three, Boeing would be my choice. All right, any other stocks? NVTS. NVTS. Oh, I like this. This is a great daily close. Great daily close. And the 4 hour, yeah, uptrending. This is a great stock. Great pick out. Well done. Hourly, yes. Hourly is consolidating for a bigger move higher. So MVTS, I will say, I'll go to my daily chart. I would just like us to hit that level here. $8.49. $8.50, let's say. And then eventually $9.50. Let's call it that. MVTS is cool. Oh, yeah, could be something. All right, folks, that's 10. That's more than 10, to be honest. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, drop it in the chat. New week, new money, new opportunities. New month, new opportunities, right? All of us have new opportunities this month, right? July was a great month, but it ended sour, right? We're not going to talk about the last 2 days of July, the 30th and 31st. It was sour. It's time to elevate August. We'll be tunnel vision focused. It's it's time to really rock. It's for time to really rock. Let's do it in August, right? Last thing I'll say is if you're in a trade, you're down 20, 30%, be disciplined, cut the trade, come back the next time for more. Right? Let's just start doing that. If you saw the thread I wrote yesterday, it took a long time to write, but how to grow a small account. Nowhere in that thread did I say be down 85% and hope for the best. Nah. If you're in something that's pulling back too far, take the L, take 20% loss, move on. Right? Let's protect profits. Let's manage risk. Let's start focusing on our actual strategy, right? Let's start being surgical with how we perform in the markets. Take them L's, but take them small. Let them runners fly when you are in the green, right? Don't hold full position. I know some of you held full position last week, you're up 300, 400%, and then the next day you're only up 50%. Don't do full position. Cut. Do what I do. Take them profits, let them runners fly. Let them runners do the work. Let them runners run to the next century, right? So we've got this, folks. I think we've got a good set of stocks on our hand. I think we've got a lot of opportunity this month of August in the market. All right. So that's it from me, folks. If you enjoyed it, drop in the Discord. I see you there. Thank you guys so much. Over and out.